Interpersonal communication is the process of people communicating their feelings, ideas, emotions, and information face to face to each other. It can be through verbal or nonverbal forms. Interpersonal communication is not only about what is said and what is received, but also how it is said through body language, facial expressions, and especially for me, attentiveness and attitude. I'm Alan Weininger, and this recording is being conducted on March 4th, 2021. The results of my behavior blend identified in my Uniquely You profile outlined how I communicate and relate to others, how my background and identity influences my communication patterns, as well as some of my challenges and opportunities. These results help to disclose the most significant interpersonal communication barriers and issues that I have and how these hinder and influence my relationships. This helped me to identify an intended goal to overcome these barriers and what strategies and methodologies I will use to achieve that goal. This includes specific action steps for applying these strategies and what I will do to hold myself accountable and make my goal a reality. We all have behavioral blend of active and passive roles that identify our temperament styles that represent a specific behavioral pattern. 4 basic personality types help to explain why we feel, think, and act the way we do. To understand these better, we will use Dr. William Marston's DISC or DISC titles. D represents active and task-oriented, being dominant, demanding, determined, decisive, and doing. I represents active and people-oriented, being inspiring, influencing, impressing, and interactive. S represents passive and people-oriented, being steady, stable, shy, servant, submissive, a specialist. And C represents passive and task-oriented, being cautious, competent, calculating, compliant, and careful. Utilized by many universities and providers, the 2018 Uniquely You Profile Questionnaire, which is managed by Dr. Mel's Carbonell, revealed that I predominantly am a competent, steady doer. More clearly, I tend to do things that I put my mind to, but do experience some self-doubt of my abilities. I am not an extrovert and prefer to work in small groups or with individuals to help provide better support and oversight. I tend to have good vision to see the big picture. I do not expect others to provide me a stable environment, but tend to help provide that same stability and security for others. I can be hard-nosed and demanding in some dealings with others, but only because I know this is best for their development and growth. I influence others because of my demonstrated sincere concern for their well-being. I do not seek the limelight or publicly motivate others, but instead lead by example by personal effort and service. For this, I feel that people do respect me, but I have been overlooked or were not recognized for my efforts in the past. Overall, people know that I will do what it takes to complete the planning and preparations to execute the mission and achieve the desired results. The most significant interpersonal communication barriers and issues that I have discovered that negatively affect my relationships is having physical and emotional distractors. The physical distractor barriers do not allow me to appropriately direct my time and attention to completely understand the conversation, the message, or the situation. The emotional distractor barriers makes me tend to disregard the rational and objective thinking process and derive at emotional judgments that focus on the negatives instead of the positives, all of which distort the message and give me an erroneous interpretation. On several occasions, these barriers have made the talker defensive and prevented them to feel at ease, so the conversation failed to take shape. These issues were highlighted from 2 experts in the field, in Quentin Schultz and Diane Badzinski's 2015 book, An Essential Guide to Interpersonal Communication, Building Great Relationships with Faith, Skill, and Virtue in the Age of Social Media. During my almost 30 years in the military, I have dedicated the majority of my career to the development of others and toward improving the organization. After retirement, I want to continue that same work in the civilian sector and guide and mentor at-risk youth and young adults to become productive members of society. Utilizing my years and experience of being a citizen soldier, coupled with my secondary education, I plan to utilize active listening skills, empathy, and genuineness to dedicate the time that is needed to provide objectivity and rational thinking. Focus on how to amplify positivity and battle negativity in my clients' lives. This is similar to what renowned author and pastor James Peterson described in his 2015 revised and expanded edition book, Why Don't We Listen Better? Communicating and Connecting Better in Relationships. That is, as we progress in knowledge and skill, we remain supportive to the person and the process. To do these things, I'll apply the strategies that were extensively researched and illustrated by psychologists Kenneth France and Kim Weichel in their 2020 fourth edition, Helping Skills for Human Service Workers, Building Relationships and Encouraging Productive Change, that explains that clients make progress when they feel understood and work toward goals that they care about. To put this strategy into action and help me understand the client to the fullest extent, I will follow the guidance given in a 2020 peer-reviewed article found in the International Journal of Listening, titled Conditions and Consequences of Listening Well with Interpersonal Relationships, Modeling Active Empathetic Listening, Social Emotional Skills, Trait Mindfulness, and Relational Quality, in which authors Mosov, Stoffleth, Harvey, and Crowley identified 3 stages of active empathetic listening, which are sensing, processing, and responding. This entails having an active involvement in what is being communicated, sensitizing the conversational information, and providing both verbal and nonverbal feedback. I must avoid assumptions and biases and use empathy to remember that my clients come from a wide variety of cultural differences, backgrounds, and family structure. In 2017, Human Communication Research published the peer-reviewed article, Connections Between Family Communication Patterns, Person-Centered Message Evaluations, and Emotion Regulation Strategies, where author Jones, Bodie, and Corner explain that family interaction and communication can vary greatly. High conformity-oriented families emphasize obedience, coherence, conflict avoidance, and interdependence, while low conformity-oriented families are more individualized, have a weaker family structure, and value relationships outside of the family. In addition, I will provide genuineness by increasing my knowledge and experience so I can show good judgment and direction while remaining honest and intentional, and provide accurate and helpful feedback. To accomplish these steps, I must remain vigilant in my scholarly research and complete my degree. Get involved in youth-centric organizations that focus on providing good role models and mentorship, and practice active listening and communication skills during my interaction with others. In the English Standard Version, Ephesians 4:29 reminds us, "Let no corrupting talk come out of your mouths, but only such as is good for building up, as fits the occasion, that it may give grace to those who hear." When I utilize my strengths and combat communication barriers and stick to my strategic plan to achieve my goals, I will influence others, make a difference in people's lives, and help to make the world a better place. Thank you.